there, Chris Wheatley from Hot Tub University, and today we are sitting in lovely Nova Scotia, Canada on the Canso Causeway, which is right between Cape Breton Island and mainland Nova Scotia, and we're on a venture around the world on our beautiful sailboat and visiting communities right across Canada and the US and talking to hot tub buyers and hot tub retailers and hot tub owners just like you. So if you're on the east coast of the US or in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, where we're going next, make sure you hook up with us because we want to come and see you. You got a new hot tub in your backyard? We want to come and see you. You're selling hot tubs and selling good brands and taking care of clients? We want to come see you. So today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about jets and fittings and components in your hot tub that are going to make the difference between a sustainable hot tub and something that's going to end up costing you thousands of dollars in leak repairs down the road. When we evaluate a hot tub, we evaluate so many different aspects of it, and this is just one of the many critical points that we look at. So one of the first things we look at, what kind of pipe are you using? And how is that pipe attached to the fittings and to the manifolds and to the pumps? So one of the things you'll find that's very common is this. It's a nylon wound hose, and you're going to find this almost every hot tub out there is going to use this for their main large flow lines. It's pretty much the only way to do it. When we get down to the smaller lines, there's a couple of options that people deal with. We've got vinyl tubing and we've got nylon wound hose. Now a lot of people would say this nylon wound hose is going to be a far superior product, but the reality is hoses don't leak. The only time I've ever seen these hoses leak is if they've been chemically damaged, frozen, or chewed up by a rodent. And guess what? Any of those three scenarios are going to damage these pipes equally. What we worry about is what connects and how it connects onto a fitting. So if we look at a typical hot tub fitting, we're going to have something like this with a barbed end on it, and these hoses are going to compress over the end of the barbed fitting and they're going to glue into place. And this is where the problem starts, because let me tell you something, most guys that are building hot tubs are not clamping these. What they're doing is they're dipping them in glue, they're sticking on here, it's fast, it's furious, it's cheap, it's cheerful. That is going to fail. At some point in time, we're going to get a leak. And in about 3 to 5 years, you're going to start to get regular leaks. And what's worse, you're going to get weeps. And weeps are where they're leaking so little that you can't even tell it's a leak, but we're always getting moisture into that area. And that is the killer of a hot tub. So we don't really care. You can use whatever kind of pipe you want, but if you're not clamping your plumbing lines, you're not on my top list because you are not spending the money to make an integrated plumbing system that's going to be sustainable. The next thing we look at is jets and fittings, folks. And there's two aspects we're looking at here. We're looking at how the jet couples into the fitting. I don't want to see those stupid little tabs from the 90s that you're using on all your cheap tubs now because they're garbage, they're going to break, they're going to cost that client $2,500 down the road to replace all those jets. The newest technology is a click lock system. It's got blades on it. Basically it goes in and they pivot in behind. There's no parts that have to flex and the reliability has been super good. There's also thread-in jets and they're pretty common and popular right now. They're not a bad system. We do find they stick over time or they loosen up and start coming out of the socket over time. More importantly is how does this socket attach to the shell, because that is one of the biggest failure points on a tub that's in that 3 to 8 year mark. The old school way to do it, we would take a retaining nut like this, we would silicone it, we'd push this fitting through the shell, another guy would go around back, and by the way, they'd grind the back of the shell so it was perfectly flat, and then he would go and he would silicone the back and he'd put this ring on and he'd tighten it down and then he'd put a torque wrench on and torque it into place. Biggest problem with this, there are so many places that can fail. Either one of those two guys screwing up the silicone, fail. Guy not torquing that nut down right, fail. And guess what? About 80% of the nuts on the hot tub, you can't get a torque wrench on. It's too tight. Big failure rate part. This is what most guys are using. Bah! This is what you want. This is the newest technology, and it uses a 1/4 inch thick grommet that's from the aerospace industry, and they're almost 3/4 inch wide. Now, when they fit this into a shell, what they do is they cut a hole, and they compression fit this, boom, into the shell. It doesn't matter if it's perfectly true, it won't leak. It doesn't matter if it moves, it'll reseal. If I've got that one that's siliconed on and someone cranks that jet and moves the fitting a little bit, it's going to start to weep. These things have reduced leaks by up to 90-95% in the industry, and this is what you want in your hot tub. Now the reality is, the last thing we look at is how efficient the plumbing system is on a hot tub. So if a guy's using a bunch of these cheap 90-degree angles, he's going to have a lot of cavitation, a lot of noise in that fitting, and that's going to cause turbulence. And turbulence is going to reduce the life expectancy, especially if it's in front of your motor. Guys that are using these Sweep 90s, these are twice as expensive as these. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot, folks, but when you're building a pile of tubs, this is hundreds of thousands of dollars in the component quality on tubs. So when you're buying a cheap hot tub, it's probably got $1,000 lower quality part selection than a well-made tub. So we're looking at the fittings they're using, we're looking at how they're plumbing the system, and we're looking at clean plumbing lines, especially coming into the front end of a pump. You don't want to see angles in front of a pump that causes hammering in the pump head and that reduces the life expectancy. Now, you do not have a hope in hell of getting to the bottom of this, because most of this stuff is hidden behind the foam. Most of this stuff you're never going to get to put your eyes on. And that's where Hot Tub University's private buyer service, free comment section, and advice service come into play, because we know how guys build tubs. We tear them apart, we video them, we see them firsthand. Come see us. Come see our free services. We can help you. Come hire us on our private buyer service. We will shop your local market. We'll make sure you don't make the errors that are going to cost you money down the road. Chris Wheatley, Hot Tub University. Have a great day.